Hello, good morning, students. Please subscribe the channel, drop a like, share, and comment. This is Shree Vishnu Art Press Publications, exercise number 3 and 4 on the speed of 90 words per minute. Start. The main object of Article 16 is to create a constitutional right to equality of opportunity and employment in public offices. The words employment or appointment cover not merely the initial appointment but also other attributes of service like promotion and age of superannuation, etc. The appointment to any post under the state can only be made after a proper advertisement has been made inviting applications from eligible candidates and holding of selection by a body of experts or a specially constituted committee whose members are fair and impartial through a written examination or interview or some other rational criteria for judging the inter se merit of candidates who have applied in response to the advertisement made. A regular appointment to a post under the state or union cannot be made without issuing advertisement in the prescribed manner, which may in some cases include inviting applications from the employment exchange where eligible candidates get their names registered. Any regular appointment made on a post under the state or union without issuing advertisement inviting applications from eligible candidates and without holding a proper selection where all eligible candidates get a fair chance to complete would violate the guarantee enshrined under Article 16 of the Constitution. Thus, it is clear that adherence to the rule of equality in public employment is a basic feature of our Constitution, and since the rule of law is the core of our Constitution, a court would certainly be disabled from passing an order upholding a violation of Article 14 or in ordering the overlooking of the need to comply with requirements of Article 14 read with Article 16 of the Constitution. Therefore, this court, while laying down the law, has necessarily to hold that unless the appointment is in terms of the relevant rules and after a proper competition among qualified persons, the same would not confer any right on the appointee. It was further observed that it has also to be clarified that merely because a temporary employee or a casual wage worker is continued for a time beyond the terms of his appointment, he would not be entitled to be absorbed in regular service or made permanent merely on the strength of such continuance if the original appointment was not made by following a due process of selection. It is not open to the court to prevent regular recruitment at the instance of temporary employees whose period of employment has come to an end, or of ad hoc employees who, by the very nature of their appointment, do not acquire any right. High courts acting under Article 226 of the Constitution of India should not ordinarily issue directions for absorption, regularization, or permanent continuance unless the recruitment itself was made regularly and in terms of the constitutional scheme. The question of regularization of the services of such employees may have to be considered on merits in the light of the principles settled by this court in the cases above referred to and in the light of this judgment. After completion of the investigation, the investigating officer filed charge sheet against the three accused persons who denied their involvement in the incident and claimed that they had been falsely implicated on account of the subsisting rivalry between the two groups. It was also the defense of the accused that the story as narrated by PW1 should not be accepted for the reason that the accused number 1 had suffered from polio and having been crippled by the said disease, he was unable to walk about for long without the assistance of an escort. In fact, a certificate issued by one Dr. Sanjay Kare disclosed that the accused appellant number 1 herein is permanently disabled. From the evidence adduced on behalf of the defense, the learned sessions judge found that the appellant number 2 was 59 years old and the third accused was 68 years at the relevant time. The learned sessions judge, upon appraisal of the evidence, found the story of the prosecution to be improbable, basing his decision on the evidence that the appellant number 1 herein had been crippled by polio and it was physically impossible for him to lift a heavy stone in the manner suggested by the prosecution. The learned sessions judge also observed that it was improbable for two old people to overpower a young woman and immobilize her so that the appellant number 1 could pick up and throw the heavy stone at the head of the deceased. In the appeal preferred by the state of Andhra Pradesh, the High Court disagreed with the findings of the learned sessions judge and observed that there was no positive evidence on record to show that the appellant number 1 is a crippled man. The High Court went on further to observe that even if the defense story that the appellant number 1 had suffered a polio attack was accepted, such attack was always to the legs and not to the hands, and on such supposition, the High Court came to a finding that the appellant number 1 was strong enough to lift the stone and throw it at the head of the deceased. The High Court also held that the evidence of PW1 inspired confidence and there was no reason to disbelieve the same. On such finding, the High Court held the accused numbers 1 to 3 to be responsible for causing the death of the deceased. However, the High Court was of the view that the offence committed by the accused persons, though homicide, did not amount to murder and had possibly been committed with the intention of causing grievous hurt to the deceased. The High Court accordingly held the accused persons to be guilty of an offence punishable under Section 326 IPC, read with Section 34 IPC, and convicted the accused numbers 1 and 2 and sentenced each of them to suffer RI for 7 years and to pay a fine of rupees 1000. In default, to suffer RI for 1 month more.